Oh, I'm just checking that I can pause.
What the fuck? This is not working, my thingy. Ah, there it is.
Oh, you washed your sheets.
I did it! Meanwhile, I don't have to wash sheets in order to change sheets.
Yeah.
But having two sets of dirty sheets is a lot.
It's alarming how many things I only have one of.
You love having one of things.
I know. And then you're like, oh, right, having two sets of sheets is a smart thing.
Of sheets, yeah, it is.
Because then you can make a new bed without having to do laundry.
That is a thing that I was like, oh, just cool having one set of sheets.
Actually, I must have another one, but I hate it. I hate those sheets.
Why?
They're stiff.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is this has been on?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you picking your nose? Yeah.
I don't know. Was I? Did I?
I don't know. I went away for a second. I'm not sure.
I might have. Rewind!
This is crooked though. It looks strange. There. She's somewhat normal sized.
Do you guys like my hair?
Yeah.
My sideshow bob hair?
Yeah.
That was a cartoon reference. I've seen animated TV shows.
Oh!
I might have seen a comedy. I might have.
I haven't watched television in a very long time.
What's television?
I don't know.
I have.
God, I watched this movie called Les Règles du Jeu. The Rules of the Game. It's this old French comedy.
Yeah.
I need to send you this clip that I actually recorded because it was so funny.
Really?
But so bad funny. You'll see.
I love stuff like that. Yeah. Love it.
The whole movie is so painfully French. It's all
Why are the
about,
French so French?
It was so French. It's pretty much all about these people who are married and have something on the side, and then they're like, but I love them both. That's pretty much what it's all about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Men and women. It's not just the men.
Nope.
No. And everyone is in love with this woman named Christine. Maybe I'm missing something about Christine. I was like, I'm sorry, what do we like about her?
I am always in that position.
It was exactly that thing.
It's like Busted Shoe?
Yes, exactly that.
I don't know if I should share this theory, but I have a theory that a lot of things are topsy-turvy in British television programming when it comes to not topsy-turvy, but there's something weird going on in the attractiveness
sector. Evaluation.
Yeah. In almost any British show, I have to be told by a plot point whether someone's attractive.
Well, they can't leave it up to you.
That's interesting because in the US, they always do.
Oh, yes, they do. I mean, there's not much to be... They kind of make it unmistakable that someone is attractive.
Actually, it's more that everyone's hot.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I mean, everyone's hot, and then you don't even need to do anything with those creatures, but they still do stuff to them that it's like, Jesus, okay, yeah. We get it. They're really good.
Yeah, they are extremely hot. Okay. It's almost the opposite problem in the UK, where it's impossible to tell if someone is and I mean attractive in a way that matters for the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That matters for the dynamics that are occurring and stuff.
Right.
It's extremely weird.
Does it make you feel like you could really live it up in England?
No.
No, right, because they don't appreciate what you have to offer,
No,
apparently.
no, I have to be older and whiter and a little worse for wear.
Yeah, it does seem like they like that.
What is that?
And it's
I don't even think it's like deliberate and beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes when you're like, oh, all right, like this totally different paradigm, or like way to not kick out your 40-year-old actresses or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's things to be appreciated. For whatever reason, I'm
I don't know if
not that appreciative.
maybe they just don't like anything that's too showy. So they're like, ugh. So it's all flipped.
Yeah, there's like side characters that are oftentimes minority actors, and they're like stunning, and it seems kind of like just missed it. I don't know. It's very weird.
Even she's British, right? Jodie Comer.
Yes.
I think she's attractive, but I don't think she's.
I don't think she's
show-stopping.
supposed to be show-stopping, is she?
They're gonna talk about her in that one.
Do they?
Yeah,
I thought she was more show-stopping because of just like,
because of her personality.
which I do think she is.
See, that I believe.
She's so like spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, she's got that like slightly odd look that, and she's got an interesting face.
Definitely, yeah.
But there's so much behind it that I'm like, I'm on board. Like I think of her as being described less like a beauty and more like an enchantress. But maybe I'm not
she
remembering
just, like, gives off that vibe. It's like, oh,
that she's very compelling.
I can't remember right now. It's been too long since I watched it. I feel like they talk about her though. It's like, I'm not sure exactly the word they use, but I'm thinking of like,
I usually take every opportunity to be like,
yeah.
in every situation. So it's funny that I would have passed that up. But I do like her a lot, so maybe I just ignored it.
Yeah, I know. And there's that one episode, when the guy in her building is in love with her.
Yeah.
Even that, I'm like, we were in France. There's lots of pretty ladies. Why this one?
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's just because she pays him zero attention.
She's got style.
She does.
She's like very into not only clothes but like high art clothes. She's the most dressed like she's at the Met Gala without actually being at the Met Gala.
Really?
Yes.
I just think of her wearing that pink dress to
Like
her
that.
assessment. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I think she like is very striking. And yeah, because she gives no shits. Gotta start doing that. It works.
Gotta start speaking up and giving no shits. Yeah. No.
No.
Who doesn't it work for?
A bunch of insecure men.
Yeah.
Yes. But who needs them?
Doesn't it work for them too?
Yeah, but in a way that you don't want it to.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna it's gonna establish like a
It just
toxic.
perpetuates
Yes.
their misery. Yeah. What were we talking about that?
No idea. Oh, busted shoe.
Right, why were we talking about busted shoe?
Because you were talking about le règle de jeu.
Oh, Christine. Christine, I think she might be a famous actress, in which case I should be like, well, of course. because it's this famous actress.
Right. You know who I'm sort of disappointed by?
Oh.
Chloe Moritz.
Yeah?
What's her last name?
Did she not live up to her potential? What do
I
you...
kind of feel like that.
Yeah?
I was like stupefied by her in that thing that she was a child in.
What was it?
The fuck was that movie that she was?
She's been in a lot of movies. She's been a child for a long time.
No, the big like bust out. I don't think she was in that much stuff before that. Oh, maybe I'm completely full of shit. Anyway, I saw her and was like, holy. And I think she made bad choices too, not life choices.
I mean, she's been in a lot.
Career choices.
I would say I think none of her films like really stood out because she's done
Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass. That one?
Yeah,
I don't think I ever saw that.
that's her first like.
Oh.
I remember that being a big deal. She clearly did a bunch of stuff before that, but none of it. It's like, episodic and some voiceover stuff.
Chloe Moretz. I just think of her on 30 Rock.
I don't remember her from.
I feel like she hit her peak then.
I don't remember her on 30 Rock.
Is she Alec Baldwin's granddaughter? Maybe. And she's just such a smart ass.
Yeah, there's a sharpness to her that is 1 in a million with young people.
People love it. They're like, let's get some punk ass kid in here
Yeah.
who tells the old folks what's what.
Yeah.
Can we write young people in a more original way? Like that they're stupid. Just that they have more personalities than being young and like having attitude.
What are the data points that we are working with here?
What do you mean?
Like, what are you thinking of when you are saying this stuff?
I'm thinking of all the daughter roles I've ever gone out for. They're like, okay, mom.
I don't think of them as being like that.
No?
No. That's always a thing that is there to play.
Right. So this is a misstep.
What do you mean? No.
That's always there to play. I just find the character descriptions tends to be, granted, I'm just thinking of the things that I go up for. It's like good kid, but high school.
I obviously don't read the breakdowns.
Yeah.
So I don't have that view on it. To me, the like, fine, mom, that stuff almost always comes from like an actually rich emotional place that has something to do with the relationship between the parent and the kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I usually get from
Mm.
the daughters or whatever that you.
Yeah. What am I looking at?
I don't know what you're looking at.
I'm just looking at Chloe Moretz now. Did you ever see Clouds of Sos Maria? Sorry.
No.
Excuse me. I really like that movie, actually.
Is she in it?
She's in it. She kind of plays herself. Or at least I don't know what she's like in real life, but she plays like a star.
Mm.
And Juliette Binoche, she's in it. And I love her. I don't know, I like them. Oh yeah, and she did Carrie. Right?
I didn't like her choices after Kick-Ass.
I thought Brain on Fire would be a much bigger deal. Because that book was everywhere. Oh, and also, I wonder if anyone's seen that film. She did I Love You, Daddy.
What is
Do you
that?
know what that is?
No.
It's the Louis C.K. movie. That's basically about an older guy being in a relationship with a woman that is like really. It's Louis C.K.'s. She plays Louis C.K.'s daughter. I'm only going off the trailer at this. She plays Louis C.K.'s daughter, and then like one of Louis C.K.'s friends starts dating her or something.
I gotta go.
And it came out pretty much at the exact same time that all the allegations against Louis C.K. came out.
Mm-hmm. Yikes.
It was so gross and weird.
What happened with him? Nothing?
I think he just released a comedy special.
Cool.
I don't know if people are like, oh, okay. Welcome back, Louis. I'm not sure.
Wasn't there an actor that was like really weird with not long ago? Casey Affleck.
Oh, yeah. Miseducation of Cameron Post. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna. She was in Bubble Guppies. So, like, good choice.
I don't
like,
know what
she
the
didn't-
hell that is.
She didn't completely misstep. She was also herself in BoJack Horseman. So,
That's fine. But a lot of those choices afterwards, I was like, I feel like you could be getting whatever you wanted right now. But maybe you don't realize your capital sometimes.
also, how much of that do you think is like the actress's choice and just their people?
I don't know. I guess I imagine that there is some sort of ongoing dialogue, obviously, about where they want to go and what they are trying to do here.
Yeah.
And if something does like crack, like I feel like Kick-Ass did, I don't know about things. And it was like, I knew it was a big deal.
Mm.
And she like jumped off the. Did you see it?
No.
Okay. She jumped off the screen.
Wow.
Yeah, so I guess I assumed that that to me that gives you a bit of leverage.
Yeah.
Almost. To be a little bit more strategic about what. But who knows, you know?
I don't know.
You don't
I
know
think
the
also
person that's
sometimes
going on.
I think sometimes people also make a choice. I'm making a guess about this that she decided to be like number one on the call sheet. Like she decided
Mhm.
to be the main character, to be the lead, and go after parts like that, as opposed to being in films maybe of a higher caliber where she was like number two, number three. I don't know, like lower down the list. Which I actually think is much smarter in the long run to do that.
I do too.
Like, yeah, be in things that people are actually going to see as opposed to being a lead in something that people don't.
Right. Well, people are going to see and actually.
Enjoy, yeah, and like remember, and yeah, like if the project's good, yeah, it's gonna work better. Like your acting's gonna be so much better. The work is actually good. Yeah. That's just a guess.
What else? Other than her. That's all we've talked about today.
Yeah,
so far.
That's been a good and British attractiveness.
Right.
Do you think it applies for men as well?
Not as much.
Yeah.
It's mostly distinctly obvious with women.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Or maybe I'm just so desensitized by the perennial hotness of everyone. No, because there's the like other characters, the like satellite characters. I'm like, no, that person's like legitimately hot.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like there's no one on the screen that's TV attractive.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like which ones are the ones that you're like supposed to get from a plot perspective are sought after. Yeah. Like I don't that TV show that I showed sent you the pictures of. I don't know what's going on there, but like there's a prominent like love story in The Office, and she's the
Maybe she's very, you know, she's respected for her wit and her charm. Maybe they're just not as interested in looks.
as me.
Yeah, that's it. That's the problem. I don't know how to measure attractiveness over there,
Over where?
across the pond,
What do
as
you
they
mean?
say. Because I don't know. You add this accent thing, and I don't know. I already don't know whether a man is attractive or not. I have no idea. And then you add an accent that is kind of universally considered attractive. I have
What's
no
up
idea
with that,
what's
by
going
the
on.
way?
Yeah, right?
What the fuck is up with that? And in a related matter,
Mm-hmm.
every British person on the apps always says they're British.
Of course they do. Because you're like, ooh, British. It pretty much
so
ends there.
weird.
It's just, yeah, they're British. And then you get all the British stuff that comes with that, which can be delightful.
Depends on your perspective. Yeah, I don't know. It really bothers me.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the point where, like, the last person I matched with or whatever who was British, I was like, why do all British people say they're British on their profiles?
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't know. I feel like that's bullshit, but
Yeah, you definitely know.
although maybe you don't. Like,
I
if
wonder if you get treated differently.
I'm sure.
Like, oh, you're British. Like this place. I don't know what
well,
it
you
is.
just called it a universally attractive.
Definitely,
accent.
I think people treat you differently.
Oh.
I think it's like they assume you're smart, they assume you're witty, they assume, yeah, you're naturally like. I don't know why you're considered more attractive. It's just
Yeah.
a sound. It's just an inflection. It's just.
It's
not
also
having
otherness.
It's other.
It's
not
palatable otherness.
palatable. It's just association. I don't know how it started.
I think it's palatable otherness. I like this theory, in
Palatable.
case you can't tell.
What makes it palatable?
Because it's as close to you as possible.
But it's not like
They're not like
someone from
so
Texas
wildly other.
wouldn't have that effect.
Right, because they're not other.
The other here. Anyway. It's still like another country.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you have the like allure of the exotic or the like the other.
Yeah.
But everything still looks like it should.
It still looks like it should. Yeah, I can see that.
Like I remember growing up, the longest time people would be like, "Oh my God, Jennifer Lopez is huge butt. Jennifer Lopez is huge butt," and I was always like, "What huge butt?"
Mm.
And it's like it's just always very interesting to me. Like people like, "Her butt's she's got a good butt, but it's not too big.
Right.
Like she's palatable, she's other, and also like close enough that we're fine. She's not like classified as other like right off the bat.
There's also always something behind that, I think, that's like they let someone like that on television.
Yeah.
Because if you just walked down the street and you were like, oh my god, you wouldn't be like, whoa, that lady has the best
Yeah, you
ass.
wouldn't.
No, you'd be like, whoa, that ass got put on television or
Right.
on a movie. Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme, like again, if you live in the world, it's not the biggest butt. It's
Right.
really not that big.
Yeah.
But I remember, especially like in the 90s, I remember distinctly growing up, I was like, what is everybody talking about? Anyway.
Anyway. Do you want to just dive into the reading? Dive in.
Yeah, because we've already been
Yeah.
talking for 25 minutes. What did we read? We read the Rostovs got in their car finally and left.
Oh, they did.
And Andrew is in a caleche going alongside them. He's dying. Although, at this point, like, how are you taking that to heart?
What?
The fact that everyone's like, he's dying.
Am I believing it?
Yeah.
No, he's not dying.
I find it also to be a little bit like, really? You still want us to go for this? He's dying thing?
Well, yeah, you can't
How many lives can you have?
fool us 4 times.
I know.
Shame on us.
Yeah, exactly. So Sonia knows and the mother knows, but they've kept it from Natasha, even though she totally has like an astral connection to this collection. Every time she looks out the window, she's like, oh, there it is again. And then she sees Pierre in the street, who has absconded from his home, which we kind of already knew. He goes to his benefactor's house, the like Freemason that originally reeled him in, and pretends to do some work there, but actually just sits and stares into space. And then asks the guy, his like valet,
Garrison?
yeah, to get him peasant clothes and come with him.
Yeah, does he invite him along? He's like, you, sir, I need a long coat. Not peasant clothes, but like steward clothes.
Peasant clothes.
Footman clothes. And a pistol.
And that is who they see with him, because I think they were going to buy the pistol. I don't know if he's going to make him go with him wherever he's going.
Yeah.
Right. But then you will point it out, obviously, that probably they're staying in Moscow.
Yes. I think he's going to stay in Moscow and fight. Anything else?
Yeah, and Moscow's doom is nigh.
Oh, yeah. Also, so they like asked, I think that happened yesterday. They had told all these soldiers, hey, we're leaving this empty house. Come on in. And then the morning they're leaving, they're like, you know what? No. All these soldiers, get in these carriages.
Because that seems like the higher good, that like
Yeah.
we're going to save them and leave all of our shit here.
So that's what they did.
But then, to me, again, it's like, why did you even take them off the carts to begin with? What is happening?
I also just think like they're wounded. Like getting a wounded person up out
Stop
of bed
moving them around.
is not great. And that's also partly why I'm like, I don't think Andrew's dying, because you wouldn't move like a dying body, would you? If
You
his like
wouldn't on a-
intestines are
Down
like
a bumpy road, you wouldn't?
Yeah.
With like potholes and like all kinds of fucking.
Yeah.
So we are in book 11, beginning of chapter 19. Healthy number 19.
We sped through this book.
Do you think?
Wow.
Either that or the chapters are quite small.
Or that.
Could be that.
I've liked this book so far.
Have you? What's been in it?
All this packing.
Well,
It's been amusing.
it has
Even
been
the
fun.
Pierre stuff, it's been good.
Which PR stuff?
Just that he's totally out of his mind. I've enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
And
too.
I even like really enjoy the bit about like Helena and Bird.
Yeah.
I like all of it. I'm into
Yeah.
it.
It's a good book. You're right. Book 11's a good book.
I mean, we'll see. Now,
We're
having
only
said
at
that,
chapter 19.
Now, having said that, yeah. Chapter 19.
Woohoo!
Kutuzov's order to retreat through Moscow to the Ryazan Road was issued at night on the 1st of September.
The first troops started at once, and during the night they marched slowly and steadily without hurry. At daybreak, however, those nearing the town at the Dorogomilov bridge saw ahead of them masses of soldiers crowding and hurrying across the bridge, ascending on the opposite side and blocking the streets and alleys, while endless masses of troops were bearing down on them from behind, and an unreasoning hurry and alarm overcame them. They all rushed forward to the bridge, onto it, and to the fords and the boats. Kutuzov himself had driven around by side streets to get to the other side of Moscow.
By 10 o'clock in the morning of the 2nd of September, only the rear guard remained in the Dorogomilov suburb, where they had ample room. The main army was on the other side of Moscow, or beyond it.
At that very time, at 10 in the morning of the 2nd of September, Napoleon was standing among his troops in the Poklony Hill, on the Poklony Hill, looking at the panorama spread out before him. From the 26th of August to the 2nd of September, that is from the Battle of Borodino to the entry of the French into Moscow, during the whole of that agitating, memorable week, there had been the extraordinary autumn weather that always comes as a surprise, when the sun hangs low and gives more heat than in spring, when everything shines so brightly in the rare, clear atmosphere that the eyes smart, when the lungs are strengthened and refreshed by inhaling the aromatic autumn air, when even the nights are warm, and when in those dark, warm nights golden stars startle and delight us continually by falling from the sky. He's so randomly poetic when it comes to nature. I like it.
At 10 in the morning, maybe it's like because in life, we take it for granted. And then every once in a while, you're like, life is beautiful.
God, this jasmine. That's how I feel about the jasmine the bloom having begun. Oh, it smells so nice outside.
Yeah. I haven't been out there for a while, and I finally went out. I was like, oh yeah, it's beautiful out here.
And the thing's grown a lot, so
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
shade under the pergola.
Yeah.
Now almost the entire day, so you
Yeah.
can sit in the shade almost the whole day
Mhm.
because the pink things have covered.
Pink things.
It's like a third covered.
Right. That's true. It used to get so hot. The only thing is, I have to remember that my feet got bitten. Bitten.
When?
When I was out there.
By?
I don't know. Mosquitoes? I'm not sure.
I haven't seen a mosquito out there yet, but were you out there later? Maybe.
Yeah. I guess. Well, it was like 6 o'clock, 5:30.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, you know.
At 10 in the morning of the 2nd of September, this weather still held.
The brightness of the morning was magical. Moscow, seen from the Poklony Hill, lay spaciously spread out with her river, her gardens, and her churches, and she seemed to be living her usual life, her cupolas glittering like stars in the sunlight.
The view of the strange city, with its peculiar architecture, such as he had never seen before, filled Napoleon with the rather envious and uneasy curiosity men feel when they see an alien form of life that has no knowledge of them. This city was evidently living with the full force of its own life, by the indefinite signs which, even at a distance, distinguish a living body from a dead one. Napoleon from the Poklony Hill received the throb of life in the town, and felt, as it were, the breathing of that great and beautiful body.
Every Russian looking at Moscow feels her to be a mother. Every foreigner who sees her, even if ignorant of her significance as the mother city, must feel her feminine character. And Napoleon felt it.
Cette ville asiatique aux innombrables églises, Moscou, la Sainte.
Saint Moscow, this Asiatic townie of innumerable churches.
Very good. La voilà, donne enfin cette fameuse ville. Il était temps.
It is time.
Here is then at last that famous city. It is
Here
high time.
it is, the famous Villi.
Very good. Steady and dismounting, he ordered a plan of Moscow to be spread out before him, and summoned Le Logne, Didvil, the interpreter.
We should have ordered a plan of Moscow to be spread out in front of us. Or Russia, rather.
Shoulda. Would have been good.
It was necessary, even.
Ugh.
Ugh. Ah.
Ugh. Ugh.
Someone's been watching French movies.
Should have done this really high quality, done like a set deck, had maps and charts and
Period costumes.
genealogical families.
We should have gotten swallowtail coats. We should be sitting here like so hot, sweating from all the winter Russian soldier gear.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay. A town captured by the enemy is like a maid who has lost her honor. Got you. Thought he. He had said so to Tuchkov at Smolensk. From that point of view, he gazed at the oriental beauty he had not seen before. It seemed strange to him that his long-felt wish, which had seemed unattainable, had at last been realized. In the clear morning light, he gazed now at the city and now at the plan, considering its details, and the assurance of possessing it agitated and awed him.
But could it be otherwise, he thought? Here's his capital at my feet. Where is Alexander now, and what is he thinking? A strange, beautiful, and majestic city, and a strange and majestic moment. In what light must I appear to them, thought he, thinking of his troops. Here she is, the reward for all those faint-hearted men, he reflected, glancing at those near him and at the troops who were approaching and forming up. One word from me, one movement of my hand, and that ancient capital of the Tsars would perish. But my clemency is always ready to descend upon the vanquished. I must be magnanimous and truly great. But no, it can't be true that I am in Moscow, he suddenly thought. Yet here she is, lying at my feet, with her golden domes and crosses scintillating and twinkling in the sunshine. But I shall spare her. On the ancient monuments of barbarism and despotism, I will inscribe great words of justice and mercy. It is just this which Alexander will feel most painfully. I know him.
Oh, what a dick.
It seemed to Napoleon that the chief import of what was taking place lay in the personal struggle between himself and Alexander.
Ugh.
From the height of the Kremlin, yes, there's the Kremlin, yes. I will give them just laws. I will teach them the meaning of true civilization. I will make generations of boyars. It's a boyar. Remember their conqueror with love. I will tell the deputation that I did not and do not desire war, that I've waged war only against the false policy of their court, that I love and respect Alexander, and that in Moscow I will accept terms of peace worthy of myself and of my people. I do not wish to utilize the fortunes of war to humiliate an honored monarch. Boyars, I will say to them.
Boyars, are members of the nobility just below princes. So it's like an old form of aristocracy. So he's talking about this class structure.
Ah, boyars. Okay. Boyars, I will say to them. I do not desire war. I desire the peace and welfare of all my subjects. However, I know their presence will inspire me, and I shall speak to them as I always do, clearly, impressively, and majestically.
That's how I feel when I talk.
Who thinks like this? Like, who has this level of self-esteem?
I will speak as I always do. Impressively. Clearly.
I know
and
that,
most of all, majestic.
I know that's what was going through your head when you were doing yoga teacher training. Or yoga teacher thing.
Teachering?
Yeah.
I talk like that?
No, I'm sure that's what ran through your head before your lessons.
Oh, before my
You're like, what will I say? Whatever it will be.
It will be clear. It will be impressive, and it will be majestic.
But can it be true that I am in Moscow?
Oh my God!
Yes, there she lies.
At your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Qu'on m'amène les whatever boyards, said he to his suite.
Bring the boyars to me. No, go back. A general with a brilliant suite galloped off at once to fetch the boyars.
2 hours passed. Napoleon had lunched and was again standing in the same place on the Poklony Hill, awaiting the deputation. Is there something in the oven? Do you suddenly smell food very strongly?
No.
I'm pregnant. Just suddenly something smells. It smells like there's a delivery person right outside that window.
He's leaving a Postmates.
Okay, maybe I'm imagining. Remember earlier today, I was like
Yeah, you were
sure
like,
that I smelled
Is someone
smoke?
smoking? And I was like, oh,
You were smoking.
remember?
Sorry. His speech to the boyars had already taken definite shape in his imagination. That speech was full of dignity and greatness, as Napoleon understood it.
He was himself carried away by the tone of magnanimity he intended to adopt toward Moscow.
That's funny. I'm so carried away by the tone I intend to adopt.
In his imagination, he appointed. I actually think I've definitely thought along these lines. I think I told you, right, how I spoke at my grandmother's funeral.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that was going through my head. So I will speak.
How did it go?
I will eulogize, but I think it was a terrible, terrible, angry, bitter speech.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, talk about this.
I'm getting it confused with Lotra's speech.
Wow.
Wedding speech.
I make a really good speech. In my head, it was all about how she had died in a nursing home.
And that was,
Not okay with me.
well, then I understand why it would be angry and bitter.
Yeah. But I didn't plan, like, I didn't write anything down. I was, like, at the funeral, and then I was like, I want to talk.
What did you say?
I don't really remember. It was like, all she wanted was to go home.
Oh my god. Was everyone like,
I don't know. Maybe they were just like, okay, sit down.
how fun. How fun to have made like fugly speeches.
Fucking speeches.
I don't know why I have like a kind of a romantic notion of just doing a clusterfuck of a speech.
Yeah.
I think it's in a lot of movies.
That's probably where I get it.
Like I think it's actually kind of romanticized now that I think about it.
Speech making?
Someone
Or like fugly speech?
doing a like terrible job in a speech, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
By like overly revealing their emotional state or like
Yeah.
making things really weird. I
It's
just
just
feel like that's a
choosing like the
common-
worst time to air a bunch of things
Yeah.
in front of a bunch of strangers.
That's like I think that's a common, although I did say something about bowler hats yesterday that I don't like, that seemed like a thing to me, and then later I was like,
That's why it was so funny, because it was like, of course, that's where you wear it.
yeah, so this seems to me like as clear. Than
No, I think that's true.
okay, cool.
And I think that's where I get the idea. Is I have like some fantasy of like, the person who's like, no, I'm gonna talk now.
Yeah.
And they put down their cue cards.
Yeah, there's that moment where they're like, no, I don't need this.
Yeah.
Or I cannot tell a lie.
Yeah, like I can't do this.
Yeah.
No.
That's really
You
funny.
finally need to hear the truth.
I wish you did that at every audition. Like that you had the sides and then were like, this isn't real enough. And just like did a different
Oh
scene.
god, there's this great short film that I need to find it and send it to you. It's all about a woman having like a nervous breakdown in an audition.
Oh,
And it just
God.
goes on and on and on and on, and it's so good.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of similar to the wedding speech thing. Like moments when you're supposed to be like on
Yeah.
and everyone is just like judging you / like there's there's a room of expectation
Yeah, definitely.
and then like woo!
I definitely think there's something to that. It's like the moment that you're supposed to perform, like, okay, now we really need you. You're like, we're going down.
That's really great.
Yeah.
It's really funny. It's so far away from what I would ever do. Yes, kind of. I I have like a longing for those
Well,
kinds
you
of
two, it's
moments.
not hard. You two could do it.
Well, like I think I did it in some ways when I was like on drugs at my acapella audition. Like it was just like a hot mess. But I was on drugs for that.
With that excuse.
Yeah. So I've never been like in my right mind, like I am going to steer us into an iceberg. That's so great.
Thing is, you don't think you're gonna steer.
I know you do.
No, but that's even the worst part. If there was like a conscious deliberation, part of the painful thing too is you're like, this is gonna be good. Oh, people are gonna talk about this speech
I love that.
for years to come, and then they do it on the new one.
I love that. Okay.
Okay.
Back to
He's carried away by his magnanimity. In his imagination, he appointed days for assemblies at the Palace of the Tsars, at which Russian notables and his own would mingle. He mentally appointed a governor, one who would win the hearts of the people. Having learned that there were many charitable institutions in Moscow, he mentally decided that he would shower favors on them all. He thought that, as in Africa, he had to put on a burnous and sit in a mosque, so in Moscow he would be beneficent like the Tsars. And in order finally to touch the hearts of the Russians, and being like all Frenchmen, unable to imagine anything sentimental without a reference to ma chère, ma tendre, ma pauvre mère, he decided that he would place an inscription on all these establishments in large letters. This establishment is dedicated to my dear
What?
mother. Or no. It should be simply Maison de ma mère, he concluded. Am I really in Moscow? Yes, here it lies before you. But why is the deputation for the city so long in appearing? He wondered.
What is he so confused by?
I think it's just been so long awaited. It's like, you can't really. Really? Are we here?
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay. Because he's acting like Pierre, or like
Yeah,
he's acting like someone else.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, an agitated consultation was being carried on in whispers among his generals and marshals at the rear of his suite. Those sent to fetch the deputation had returned with the news that Moscow was empty, that everyone had left it. The faces of those who were not conferring together were pale and perturbed. They were not alarmed by the fact that Moscow had been abandoned by its inhabitants, grave as that fact seemed. What do you mean grave? You guys are the reason. What are you, like, what are the French perturbed by?
The left was like saying hello.
Yeah, what's that? But by the question how to tell the emperor without putting him in the terrible position of appearing ridiculous, that he had been awaiting the boyar so long in vain, that there were drunken mobs left in that there were drunken mobs left in Moscow, but no one else. Some said that a deputation of some sort must be scraped together. Others disputed that opinion and maintained that the emperor should first be carefully and skillfully prepared, and then told the truth.
You'll have to be told all the same, said some gentleman of the suite. Gentleman?
The position was the more awkward because the emperor, meditating upon his magnanimous plans, was pacing patiently up and down. Does it make sense to you? What they're all thinking about?
Yeah, so the only people left in town are just like our drunken mobs.
Right.
So there's
really
no
get why
one
that
for
would
him
be-
to talk to. There's no one for him to like welcome to the new
Yes,
to
I
the
think.
new world.
Yeah, and I think partly there's the fact that they would rather like ditch their whole fucking city.
Mhm.
So clearly, the French arriving, like no part of them is welcoming. They like they fucking left.
Yeah.
War was so weird.
But why wouldn't you? Of course they left.
No, because if it was palatable,
I know, but
then you'd be like, okay, well, let's see what we can do to ease this transition that's so inevitable. Rather than like, I would rather be caught shot in the back while I'm running from you
Yeah.
than be under French rule like everybody else. The position, was the more awkward because the emperor, meditating upon his magnanimous plans, was pacing patiently up and down before the outspread map, occasionally glancing along the road to Moscow from under his lifted hand with a bright and proud smile.
It's impossible, declared the gentlemen of the suite, shrugging their shoulders, but not venturing to utter the implied word. But if they did,
At last, the emperor, tired of futile exploitation, his actor's instinct suggesting to him that the sublime moment, having been too long drawn out, was beginning to lose its sublimity, gave a sign with his hand. A single report of a signaling gun followed, and the troops, who were already spread out on different sides of Moscow, moved into the city through Tver, Kaluga, and this one's hard. Dorogomilov gates. Faster and faster, vying with one another, they moved at the double or at a trot, vanishing amid the clouds of dust they raised and making the air ring with a deafening roar of mingling shouts.
Drawn on by the movement of his troops, Napoleon rode with them as far as the Dorogomilov gate, but there again stopped, and dismounting from his horse, paced for a long time by the Kammer Kolezki rampart, awaiting the deputation.
Dear God. Chapter 20.
Dorogomilov. Some of these words are just, it's like, okay, here we go. It's like, I pray I will get through it.
I've lost all shame. Like, quite early on I did.
Right.
It's going to break my brain when we inevitably watch the BBC thing. And
it's all
oh my God, all these words are like violently different from what we said.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In the high budget version of this, we would have gotten a Russian consult.
Of course.
Yeah.
To be sure. Or at least we would have watched some fucking tiny video clip to be like, what? How do you say that?
But we're not looking ahead. That's
No.
what's so authentic about this.
Yes, there is no day but today.
Yes. So we would have to be stopping and starting all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like reading it. We're like, this is the people's read.
This is the people's read. I agree. In actuality, it's one of those things that I like joke about, but I'm also kind of serious.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
All right. I'm glad we're all in agreement.
I know, it's wonderful.
It is so good. Literally.
We're at chapter 20.
Oh, yeah.
They agree too.
Cool. Chapter 20. Meanwhile, Moscow was empty. There were still people in it. Perhaps a 50th part of its former inhabitants had remained, but it was empty. It was empty in the sense that a dying, queenless hive is empty. Jesus.
That's an image. In a queenless hive, no life is left, though to a superficial glance it seems as much alive as other hives.
Well, then there is life left.
We're going into a whole thing about bees. Okay, great.
Oh, I'm psyched. I love bees. They're so special. Can
There's
you
this
get
book
over
you
that?
need to read called The Bees.
I have to confess that in the same way that I was like scared of watching the food documentaries, I have steered clear of documentaries that would give me a lot of useful fucking information about how bad it is that they're disappearing.
Oh.
Also, I just read something about there being murder wasps or like something, like some horrifyingly named creature.
Yeah.
That's like this big, 2 inches something.
No, there is. There probably is.
And apparently kills bees. And it's like a large wasp looking thing.
It just kills bees. It
And
just
people.
lives to kill bees.
And people. I'm not making this up. It sounds really made up, but
I think that's what this book is called. There's this book called The Bees,
yeah.
and it's written from the point of view of a bee.
Oh, you've told me this. I really want
Yeah.
to see that. Murder hornets.
Yeah. Murder hornets.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus.
Look how big they are. They're like bigger than hummingbirds, maybe.
It's arrived like it came from Asia?
Yeah, they're here.
No, they're not.
I,
Why
I,
did they look so angry? Oh, Jesus.
I'm pretty sure they.
Why are all
I
these
think they kill
dudes?
people.
They literally look like they're not happy to be here. Like, are you kidding me? That looks drawn.
I know and the name, like the whole thing, sounds completely made up.
Ooh. Murder hornet munchies. Murder hornet munchies.
Oh, do you think what's his name?
The horrifying insect makes a tasty treat.
I'm sure it does. It's really
Great. So welcome.
so cool.
Terrifying. Murder hornets invade.
Can you believe this? I was like, oh, is this really happening right now?
Right now. Well, at least we're not going outside.
I know, but I think they're also hurting the bees, is the thing.
That's not okay.
Like, I think they murder humans, but I think they eat bees.
Right. Murder? And they like a sting will kill you?
I think so. I know that several people have died. I don't know if that's because, like, I didn't read enough about it because I was like, this can't be happening. I can't with the murder hornets right now. Isn't this crazy?
Wow. Sizing up the giant. Oh. So this gives you an idea of how big it is, I think. So it's not like that, but it's you would run from it.
You mean it's 4 centimeters?
Yeah. As opposed to 2 inches?
I literally saw somewhere 2 inches. No one really saw this coming. Great.
We're not seeing much coming these days.
Did I tell you
You know
about
what I think is the next thing that's going to happen?
Hmm.
Aliens. Yeah, and we're going to be like, oh. Well,
Yeah, I think that is what it's going to be like.
yeah.
We're going to be like, just someone want to gather a deputation? Because we should take this line down, is what I'm thinking.
Have at it. Have Earth. I don't know. We obviously can't be put in charge of this thing.
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things.
Very much. Yeah.
The bees circle round a queenless hive in hot beams of the midday sun. I hope this is scientifically accurate. As gaily as around the living hives. From a distance, it smells of honey, like the others, and bees fly in and out the same way. But one has only to observe that hive to realize that there is no longer any life in it. The bees do not fly in the same way. The smell and the sound that meet the beekeeper. I thought you literally just said that all these things were the same. Didn't he just say it smells the same?
It's all the same. But no, it's not the same.
None of the things are the same. The bees do not fly in the same way. The smell and the sound that meet the beekeeper are not the same. To the beekeeper's tap on the wall of the sick hive, instead of the former instant unanimous humming of tens of thousands of bees with their abdomens threateningly compressed and producing by the rapid vibration of their wings an aerial living sound, the only reply is a disconnected buzzing from different parts of the deserted hive. This is so sad. From the alighting board, instead of the former spirituous, fragrant smell of honey and venom, and the warm whiffs of crowded life comes an odor of emptiness and decay mingling with the smell of honey. There are no longer sentinels sounding the alarm with their abdomens raised and ready to die in defense of the hive. There is no longer the measured, quiet sound of throbbing activity like the sound of boiling water, but diverse, discordant sounds of disorder. In and out of the hive, the long, black robber bees smeared with honey fly timidly and shiftily. They do not sting, but crawl away from danger. Formerly, only bees laden with honey flew into the hive, and they flew out empty. Now they fly out laden. The beekeeper opens the lower part of the hive and peers in. Instead of black, glossy bees tamed by coil clinging to one another's legs and drawing out the wax with a ceaseless hum of labor. Oh my god, he's in love with bees. Maybe that's me.
Should be.
That used to hang in long clusters down to the floor of the hive. Drowsy, shriveled bees crawl about separately in various directions on the floor and walls of the hive. Instead of a neatly glued floor swept by the bees with the fanning of their wings, there is a floor littered with bits of wax, excrement, dying bees scarcely moving their legs, and dead ones that have not been cleared away.
The beekeeper opens the upper part of the hive and examines the super. Instead of serried rows of bees sealing up every gap in the combs and keeping the brood warm, he sees the skillful, complex structures of the combs, but no longer in their former state of purity. All is neglected and foul. Black robber bees are swiftly and stealthily prowling about the combs.
Who are these motherfuckers?
I don't know.
Do they even live there?
Black robber bees?
Sounds very
Of course
racial.
they're black. Yeah. And the short home bees, shriveled and listless as if they were old, creep slowly without trying to hinder the robbers, having lost all motive and all sense of life. Drones, bumblebees, wasps, and butterflies knock awkwardly against the walls of the hive in their flight. Butterflies?
Why are they in there?
They're like
Lost butterflies
they're like
slam into wall after wall.
yeah, it's like a warehouse party. Here and there among the cells containing dead brood and honey, an angry buzzing can sometimes be heard. Here and there, a couple of bees, by force of habit and custom, cleaning up brood cells with effort beyond their strength, laboriously drag away a dead bee or bumblebee, without knowing why they do it. In another corner, two old bees are
Languidly fighting.
It's like, oh
Two
yeah.
old bees languidly
There's
fighting.
always, like those dead hives, and there's always two old bees, right? In every one, there's two old bees languidly fighting, or cleaning themselves, or feeding one another, without themselves knowing whether they do it with friendly or hostile intent.
What?
In a third place, a crowd of bees, crushing one another, attacks some victim and fight and smother it. And the victim, enfeebled or killed, drops from above slowly and lightly as a feather among the head of corpses. Heap of corpses. The keeper opens the two center partitions to examine the brood cells. In place of the former close dark circles formed by thousands of bees sitting back to back and guarding the high mystery of generation, he sees hundreds of dull, listless, and sleepy shells of bees. They have almost all died unawares, sitting in the sanctuary they have guarded and which is now no more. They reek of decay and death. Only a few of them still move, rise, and feebly fly to settle on the enemy's hand, lacking the spirit to die, stinging him. The rest are dead and fall as lightly as fish scales. The beekeeper closes the hive, chalks a mark on it, and when he has time, tears out its contents and burns it clean.
That was the saddest thing about the whole book so far. Bees! So, in that same way, Moscow was empty. When Napoleon, weary, uneasy, and morose, paced up and down in front of the Kolesky rampart, awaiting what to his mind was a necessary, if but formal, observance of the proprieties. A deputation.
In various corners of Moscow, there still remained a few people aimlessly moving about, following their old habits and hardly aware of what they were doing.
When, with due circumspection, Napoleon was informed that Moscow was empty, he looked angrily at his informant, turned away, and silently continued to walk to and fro.
"My carriage," he said.
He took his seat beside the aide-de-camp on duty and drove into the suburb. Moscow deserted, he said to himself. What an incredible event!
He did not drive into the town, but put up at an inn in the Dogoromilov suburb.
The coup de théâtre did not come off. The theatrical...
So sad. He didn't get to give a speech.
I'm sure he'll find a way to make it. Keep it going?
Yeah.
Chapter 21. The Russian troops were passing through Moscow from 2 o'clock at night till 2 in the afternoon and bore away with them the wounded and the last of the inhabitants who were leaving.
The greatest crush during the movement of the troops took place at the Stone. Moskva, and Yaúza bridges.
Yowza bridge. While the troops, dividing into two parts when passing around the Kremlin, were thronging the Moskva and the stone bridges, a great many soldiers, taking advantage of the stoppage and congestion, turned back from the bridges and slipped stealthily and silently past the church of Vasily the Beatified, and under the Borovitsky Gate, back up the hill to the Red Square, where some instinct told them they could easily take things not belonging to them. Crowds of the kind seen at cheap sales filled all the passages and alleys of the bazaar. How rude. But there were no dealers with voices of ingratiating affability inviting customers to enter. There were no hawkers, nor the usual motley crowd of female purchasers, but only soldiers, in uniforms and overcoats, though without muskets, entering the bazaar empty handed and silently making their way out through its passages with bundles. Tradesmen and their assistants, of whom there were but few, moved about among the soldiers quite bewildered. They unlocked their shops and locked them up again, and themselves carried goods away with the help of their assistants. On the square in front of the bazaar were drummers beating the muster call. But the roll of the drums did not make the looting soldiers run in the direction of the drum as formerly, but made them, on the contrary, run farther away. Among the soldiers in the shops and passages, some men were to be seen in grey coats, with closely shaven heads. Two officers, one with a scarf over his uniform and mounted on a lean, dark grey horse, the other in an overcoat and on foot, stood at the corner of Ilyinka Street talking. A third officer galloped up to them.
The general orders them all to be driven out at once, without fail. This is outrageous. Half the men have dispersed.
Where are you off to? Where? He shouted to three infantrymen without muskets who, holding up the skirts of their overcoats, were slipping past him into the bazaar passage. Stop, you rascals!
How are you going to stop them? Replied another officer. There's no getting them together. The army should push on before the rest bolts, that's all.
How can one push on? They are stuck there, wedged on the bridge, and don't move. Shouldn't we put a cordon round to prevent the rest from running away?
Come, go in there and drive them out, shouted the senior officer.
The officer in the scarf dismounted, called up a drummer, and went. I need a drummer. I'm going to need a drummer for this. I like how much music into their warring.
Yeah. Does it help? Does it keeps everyone in time to the beat?
I think it helps in so many ways. Like I know if you exercise, like if you move in rhythm with music, your body actually thinks that it's easier than what's happening.
Really?
Yeah. It makes the same activity. Interesting.
Yeah, I wanna know like how they've studied that.
Calories flow. Just some kind of caloric study.
Like you burn less calories?
I think. Maybe. Or you expend less energy. I don't know. Or no. I think your mind thinks. I don't know how they fucking study.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, I don't know.
Well, I remember when I used to run.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do it without music.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course.
The harder the better.
Exactly. I was like, no. We're not gonna get to like zone out to some good music.
No.
We're gonna feel pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So heavy. Okay.
I wonder why I was so unhappy. Makes no sense.
Seriously. Why couldn't you just like embrace all the feelings and the pain?
Right?
Yeah.
And then be cozy and happy with them.
Mm-hmm. Cuddle them.
Yeah. Nah. That'd be too easy.
Where were we?
They're drumming.
I need a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And went with him into the arcade. Some soldiers started running away in a group. A shopkeeper with red pimples on his cheeks near the nose. What? Why? And a calm, persistent, calculating expression on his plump face hurriedly and ostentatiously approached the officer, swinging his arms.
It's an interesting choice. He's like, well, what should the shopkeeper look like?
Let's get really close with his skin.
We've never described anyone's skin ever,
Yeah.
except for just some like random old guys.
Except like unless they're
Sallow.
like sallow. Like no, this guy has
He's the only man in Russia with acne. You know that guy, the guy with the red pimples by his nose.
I'm surprised there's people who have acne. Yeah. Your Honor, said he, be so good as to protect us. We won't grudge trifles. You are welcome to anything. We shall be delighted. Pray, I'll fetch a piece of cloth once for such an honorable gentleman, or even 2 pieces with pleasure. For we feel how it is. But what's all this? Sheer robbery? If you please, could not guards be placed, if only to let us close the shop?
Several shopkeepers crowded around the officer.
Hey, what twaddle? Said one of them, a thin, stern-looking man. When one's head is gone, and one doesn't weep for one's hair, take what any of you like. When one's head is gone, and one doesn't weep for one's hair. Take what any of you like. And flourishing his arm energetically, he turned sideways to the officer.
You put an "and" in there. When one's head is gone, one doesn't weep for one's hair.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that's why I got confused.
Okay.
It's all very well for you, Ivan Sidorich, to talk, said the first tradesman angrily. Please step aside, Your Honor.
Talk indeed, cried the thin one. In my 3 shops, here I have 100,000 rubles worth of goods. Can they be saved when the army is gone? What people? Against God's might, our hands can't fight.
Come inside, Your Honor, repeated the tradesman, bowing.
The officer stood perplexed, and his face showed indecision.
It's not my business, he exclaimed, and strode on quickly down one of the passages.
From one open shop came the sound of blows and vituperation. Vituperation. And just as the officer came up to it, a man in a grey coat with a shaven head was flung out violently.
Bitter and abusive language.
Mm,
I like that word.
me too.
This man, bent double, rushed past the tradesman and the officer. The officer pounced on the soldiers who were in the shops, but at that moment fearful screams reached them from the huge crowd on the Moskva bridge, and the officer ran out into the square.
What is it? What is it? He asked. But his comrade was already galloping off past Vasily the Beatified in the direction from which the screams came.
The officer mounted his horse and rode after him. When he reached the bridge, he saw 2 unlimbered guns, the infantry crossing the bridge, several overturned carts, and frightened and laughing faces among the troops. Beside the cannon, a cart was standing to which 2 horses were harnessed. 4 bozois with collars were pressing close to the wheels. The cart was loaded high, and at the very top, beside a child's chair with its legs in the air, sat a peasant woman uttering piercing and desperate shrieks. He was told by his fellow officers that the screams of the crowd and the shrieks of the woman were due to the fact that General Ermolov, coming up to the crowd and learning that soldiers were dispersing among the shops while crowds of civilians blocked the bridge, had ordered 2 guns to be unlimbered and made a show of firing at the bridge. The crowd, crushing one another, upsetting carts, and shouting and squeezing desperately, had cleared off the bridge, and the troops were now moving forward. Cool.
Mm.
For whatever reason, I have seen so many just wanton police brutality things on Instagram the last week or 2.
Really?
Yes, multiple different ones. They're fucked up. I'm gonna send you one.
Great. Yeah.
It's the kind of thing.
What are they doing lately?
I'm not sure if something has changed that makes. I don't know. I don't. It seems to me like I've seen many more. I've gotten some from Ray, of course. Then I've seen my friend Purna's posting them. My friend, a couple of friends, and then and Ron Finley, of course.
Mm.
Now is not a good time for this, Cynthia.
Right. But yeah, send it to me. I mean, I wonder if the streets are empty and
yeah, it's
there's kind of no there's no precedent, so I don't know if they're allowed to just enforce all kinds of crazy shit that isn't actually real.
Yeah, I don't know if they're allowed to, but
Or it's not that they're allowed to, but like they can get away with it.
it's fucked up. Yeah, I mean, okay. Chapter 22.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the city itself was deserted. There was hardly anyone in the streets. The gates and shops were all closed. Only here and there around the taverns, solitary shouts or drunken songs could be heard. Nobody drove through the streets, and footsteps were rarely heard. The Povarskaya was quite still and deserted. This does make me want to go to Moscow.
I was thinking that a few pages ago. I was like, I
Yeah.
think this is literally the first time that I have wanted.
Yeah,
I've never been remotely.
me too.
The
Yeah.
Kremlin is crazy.
Is it?
I mean, the building?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the weirdest looking buildings in the whole world.
Right, definitely. What's the inside like, though?
No idea.
Mm.
Just looks like a cake.
Yeah,
Looks like a Disney.
definitely. Yeah, doesn't look real. Do you know the history of it at all? Why it was built or by who?
Yeah, I totally do.
You're like this? If
I know a lot
if
about
you
it.
just laid your knowledge on us.
Yeah, imagine if I suddenly like had all this concentrated information about the Kremlin, but like I knew fucking nothing about the Napoleonic Wars or like anything else that happened in this whole country.
Are you ever like, okay, so I think this is what guys do, is I think they just talk as if they know, and then somehow they
For
know.
sure.
It comes out. So there's a part of me that's like, tell us
just-
what the Kremlin, and
Just go for it.
just go for it, and chances are you'll be right, and if not, probably most people don't know the truth anyway.
I definitely don't know. It's painfully clear that I don't know.
It was during the medieval ages. It was built by gremlins, but then one day, some travelers came.
Medieval gremlins.
One day, some travelers came and were like, "What's that building over there?"
And they're like, the Kremlin.
And you misheard him, and they were like, "Oh, it's the Kremlin."
I don't know why the Gremlin would have said, the Gremlin, because that's not the answer to their question. They were asking about the building, not what is your species.
Gremlins are excellent architects, but their vocabulary is a bit limited.
Yeah.
Mostly, all they say is
Gremlin,
Gremlin.
Gremlin. They build like the pyramids, but they only say one word.
Yeah.
They're a magical species. Truly special.
Yeah, we can learn a lot from them.
I feel like I already have.
There you
You
go.
know?
Yeah. That just goes back to like, words are only so valuable. It's what you do with the words
Yeah.
that matters.
And like math is beyond language,
Truly.
So in terms of like how that would be possible for someone to build a
Obviously, there's high math involved in that.
you've seen those like
Yeah, I was just thinking of the little cupcake tops.
is that what like I just had the weirdest thought. Is that what like Indian clothes look like to people? Because I just had this reaction just now of like, am I just putting all my weird cultural projections onto the Kremlin and being like, what a weird looking building?
No, but the reason why it's weird to me too is that it's not like all of Russia looks like that.
Yes,
And
that
what
is
I remember,
weird. That is weird.
it stands out
It definitely
so
does.
strongly.
It definitely
And the rest of Russia is kind of like bleak and hard.
Yeah.
And then you have this puff.
It's a very strange country for that building to be in.
Right.
I never thought about that before. That's probably not at all true what I just said.
That is a strange
Building, country for the building.
I
to be in.
mean, maybe I have like a deep misunderstanding of Russians. I probably do.
I'm guessing I do.
I think of them as being very tough and severe and like they don't spare your feelings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they are like large, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a like joie de.
There's a bum bum bum.
I wasn't gonna say it,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I think there is that.
which is not dissonant with the building,
I guess
or
so.
you know,
Is it
like
the
they're not
colors?
like quiet and
No.
they're not the kind of Sevilla that like is noiseless and neat.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I don't know.
It's funny, I was even just so my stupid phone game. You know how like you get to these other levels that I'm sure the creators never intended there to be this many levels. And they're like, ugh, what do we design now in this new world? You know what I'm talking about, kind of?
I don't know because I'm so ashamed of the levels that I'm
This
on.
is actually funny that we're talking about this.
What
I
level
don't
are you
even know what level it is. Oh, I guess it's 398. I play this game called Two Dots.
You're only on
But look, isn't
level
that funny that this
398?
is where I am?
That is very funny.
Yeah. And I was actually, so it looks like the Kremlin.
I mean, it like is the
Yeah.
Uh,
And I normally I'm just so like phased out that I don't even notice it. But I was looking at it and I was like, oh, it's so like all the flowers and it's very pretty in its own way. And Russian doll like, like that kind of design.
you're only on level 308.
I guess so.
There's
Feels
no
like
universe
longer.
in which I'm admitting to you what levels
Okay,
I'm on.
okay. Maybe you're just better at your game.
I don't think that's what it is. Because both of the games, I'm like, one, because I've been playing for like literally at this point probably 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm on level 2,478.
God, okay.
Because I was feeling so much shame, I then felt like I have to just admit it. So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And then Best Fiends, which is a more recent development. Yeah, I'm on 803.
Damn.
So I don't think they've run out of design ideas. This is just the beginning. Chapter 22?
Wait, we
No.
already started. I was. Yeah. The city was deserted. There was hardly anyone in the streets. Gates and shops were all closed. Imagine if I read it like this, like the whole way through. Only here and there around the tavern, solitary shouts or drunken songs could be heard. Nobody drove through the streets, and footsteps were rarely heard. The Povarskaya was quite still and deserted. What is the Povarskaya? I'm imagining it's a huge square. Yeah. Square. What should we call this?
It's a radial street.
Let's call it a square.
It's a street.
Oh, it is? So I didn't go there. The huge courtyard of the Rostov's house. I wonder, like, you know how it was saying the street names too? I was like, oh, you must be able to go to the streets.
I think a lot of Russians have read this book. I mean, obviously they have. A lot of everything has read this book, but do you think that like a high percentage of Russians have
Like
read-
everyone has to read it in high school or something.
Yeah,
I'm
like-
not sure. The huge courtyard of the Rostovs' house was littered with wisps of hay and with dung from the horses, and not a soul was to be seen there. In the great drawing room of the house, which had been left with all it contained, were two people. They were the yard porter, Ignat, and the page boy, Mishka, Vasilich's grandson who had stayed in Moscow with his grandfather. Mishka had opened the clavichord and was strumming on it with one finger. The yard porter, his arms akimbo, stood smiling with satisfaction before the large mirror.
Isn't it fine? Hey, Uncle Ignat, said the boy, suddenly beginning to strike the keyboard with both hands.
Only fancy, answered Ignat, surprised at the broadening grin on his face in the mirror.
Impudence! Impudence! They heard behind them the voice of Mavra Kuzminichna, who had entered silently. How he's grinning, the fat mug. Is that what you're here for? Nothing's cleared away down there, and Vasilich is worn out. Just you wait a bit.
Ignat left off smiling, adjusted his belt, and went out of the room with meekly downcast eyes.
And I did it gently, said the boy.
I'll give you something gently, you monkey, you, cried Mavra Kuzminichna, raising her arm threateningly. Go and get the samovar to boil for your grandfather.
Get it from where?
What do you mean?
Like a few times, the word samovar has come up in this context, and the languaging around the word has always been confusing to me. Because it's not like put the kettle, you know what I mean? It's not like, it's usually like, get it from where? Where would it be? And where would it then need to be for the tea to be made? Like for it to be utilized? I don't know. Okay, forget it. Mavra Kuzminichna flicked the dust off the clavichord and closed it, and with a deep sigh left the drawing room and locked its main door.
Going out into the yard, she paused to consider where she should go next, to drink tea in the servants' wing with Vasilich, or into the storeroom to put away what still lay about.
She heard the sound of quick footsteps in the quiet street. Someone stopped at the gate, and the latch rattled as someone tried to open it. Mavra Kuzminichna went to the gate.
What do you want?
The Count Ilya Andreevich Rostov.
And who are you?
An officer. I have to see him, came the reply in a pleasant, well-bred Russian voice.
Mavra Kuzminichna opened the gate, and an officer of 18 with the round face of a Rostov entered the yard.
They've gone away, sir. Went away yesterday at Vesper time, said Mavra Kuzminichna cordially.
Young officer, standing in the gateway as if hesitating whether to enter it or not, clicked his tongue.
Oh, how annoying, he muttered. Should have come yesterday. Oh, what a pity.
Meanwhile, Mavra Kuzminichna was attentively and sympathetically examining the familiar Rostov features of the young man's face.
Who is this?
I don't know. His tattered coat and trodden-down boots.
What did you want to see the Count for? She asked.
Oh, well, it can't be helped, said he in a tone of vexation, and placed his hand on the gate as if to leave.
He again paused in indecision.
You see, he suddenly said, I am a kinsman of the Count's, and he has been very kind to me. As you see, he glanced with an amused air and good-natured smile at his coat and boots. My things are worn out, and I have no money, so I was going to ask the Count.
Mavra Kuzminichna did not let him finish.
Just wait a minute, sir. One little moment, said she.
And as soon as the officer let go of the gate handle, she turned and, hurrying away on her old legs, went through the backyard to the servants' quarters.
While Mavra Kuzminichna was running to her room, the officer walked about the yard, gazing at his worn-out boots with lowered head and a faint smile on his lips. What a pity I've missed Uncle. What a nice old woman. Where has she run off to? And how am I to find the nearest way to overtake my regiment, which must by now be getting near the Gozoshki gate, thought he. Just then, Mavra Kuzminichna appeared from behind the corner of the house with a frightened yet resolute look, carrying a rolled-up check kerchief in her hand. While still a few steps from the officer, she unfolded the kerchief and took it out of it a white 25-ruble assignat, and hastily handed it to him.
If His Excellency had been home as a kinsman, he would, of course, but as it is...
Mavra Kuzminichna grew abashed and confused. The officer did not decline, but took the note quietly and thanked her.
If the Count had been at home, Mavra Kuzminichna went on apologetically, Christ be with you, sir, may God preserve you, and she, bowing as she saw him out.
swaying his head and smiling as if amused at himself. The officer ran almost at a trot through the deserted streets toward the Yauza bridge to overtake his regiment.
But Magra Kuzminichna stood at the closed gate for some time with moist eyes, pensively swaying her head and feeling an unexpected flow of motherly tenderness and pity for the unknown young officer.
Who? Should we know who that is?
His uncle. I mean, I guess we can't take the word uncle that literally necessarily, but
Right.
who the hell could it be?
I don't know.
It even occurred to me that, like, it might be, what's his name? But obviously he's not a Frost.
Who?
I was like, Andrew's son? Maybe he's grown up.
He's not-
18. 18's really young, isn't it?
Yeah.
Petya is the only one that's like,
Again, this book is only 7 years.
it's not 17 years?
No.
I keep wanting Andrew's son to
Be
retire.
like, yeah, like suddenly he's a man. And Andrew's like, oh yeah, you.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I don't know.
I was like, oh, should we know who this is?
Felt a bit like it.
Yeah. And for one point, I was like, does he have a bastard child? I don't think so. Maybe Sonia has a brother. If we were to take the uncle literally,
Right. Because otherwise, I don't think we've heard that much. I mean, not that I would remember, about either the Countess or Ilya Rostov having siblings.
right?
Because
yeah.
that's who it would have to be, I think. Yeah, I mean, it would be weird if Sonia had a sibling that we just like never thought about, but
Yeah.
that's totally possible. Also,
Yeah.
weird.
I don't know. Hopefully, we find out who that person is at some point,
I
and
think
it's
we will.
not just a weird incident.
The second I said, I think we will. Like, we totally
like-
mean.
We don't know what's going on.
Yeah. That was a very short chapter.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think we're hurtling through book 11.
Because the chapters are short.
I think
I
so.
think you're right, actually.
Because book 10 was long.
Book 10 was, yeah. There were some hefty passages in there.
I liked the bit about the bees.
I know.
Imagine if I just got like bees tattooed all over my face, like as if I was like as if it was a hive.
I really think you should read this book. It's so much bee information. It's so detailed about the workings of a hive.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
There's a couple of species that are just like, whoa, what are you doing there?
Mhm.
Look, you're like no other insect.
Yeah.
Well, like the octopus. Those are crazy.
Mhm.
They're fucking crazy.
Why? So that don't they have 8 hearts?
They're like geniuses, first off.
Yeah.
And they have like their tentacles can be like used for different things. Like now this is a penis. Like, and they just have they're just they have like senses of humor or something. I don't know. They're fucking crazy.
Sometimes I think it's so random, actually, that humans ended up on top.
Well, right below corn.
Below the corn. That's true.
Yeah.
But this whole, like, hierarchical, like, we're better than animals thing, no.
I mean, clearly we are in our, but that's because we came up with the scale of who's better and for what reason. Like the fact that it's our numbers and stuff that have made us like successful, obviously.
I love,
It's not like an internal feeling of superiority that's never panned out.
you know how people like to be like, you know what separates humans? of
Yes.
the animal kingdom. And
Yes.
It's always like it's one thing. It's always one thing.
You know what I read that it was just a couple of days ago?
What?
Shame.
That's the one thing? That's very Christian of you. Or whatever this source is.
Might not be a Christian source. In fact, it was, I think.
Some people are like, thumbs.
That's not accurate.
Some people, yeah, that's the trick. And
No,
then
that's
other people
not.
are like, language.
But it's like definitely not either of those things.
No, it's not
No.
language. I guess they
Because there's
have
other
language
species
too.
that communicate, and there's other species
And then
that
other
have
people are like,
tongues.
oh, it's because we're communal.
That's also not accurate.
Right, because other animals have that too.
I'm sticking with shame.
Shame? Why would shame be? Shame's a good thing?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, it's just like what sets this apart.
Yeah, there's no like valid. There's no like. That's
So like, why
humans
did
are
we
better.
win? Why did humans win? Intelligence?
And like a mean streak. No.
Just a mean. What are the smartest animals? Okay,
Yes.
I know that sounds basic, but like, are we?
It depends on what
And
you
what?
what your measurement is. Right? It depends on what you're measuring. By our definition of intelligence, absolutely, we are the most intelligent. And there is something that we have done right as a species. If you take like generating large numbers, taking over territory, if those are the like signifiers of victory, then yeah, let me look.
Oh, what do we do to do that?
Persevere.
Is it that we grew our own food
Yeah, that's
and then grew weapons and then like made weapons? Like
No, 'cause
tool
tools-
making.
other species make tools. Have made tools. So that it isn't. But agriculture was a huge thing.
Yeah.
But we were like definitely human before that, obviously.
My brain's feeling sluggish. So I actually like this conversation, but I don't feel equipped to have it.
I like it too. Yeah, there's some different theories about that. One source I know, place said that the fact that we started hunting and eating more meat was what made our brains grow.
Zombies.
Yeah. And the idea being that if we had stayed mostly vegetarian,
Yeah.
that we would then be where the other apes in our
Yeah.
vicinity are.
See, I was wondering, like, the fact that we learned to grow meant that we could conserve our energy and then put that energy into other things.
Yes, camouflage. Grew weapons. Sorry, say that again?
Like the fact that we grew food.
Mhm.
Grew food.
Mhm.
Why does that sound weird?
Because it rhymes.
Meant that we could conserve energy, like we could be more efficient.
Yeah.
And then put energy into other endeavors.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that seems to me the thing. Because then once you have time on your hands, then you can create.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that,
Yeah.
you're screwed.
Yes. There's no doubt that the Fertile Crescent is like a major, like one of the most major paradigm shifts in human history for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess it's somewhat arbitrary. It depends on what you're asking, you know. Yeah, it depends on what you're.
That and obviously the Industrial Revolution. Those two things.
Do animals have imaginations? They dream, right?
Yeah.
Some of those say that we have humans' ability to imagine, to like make something out of nothing. You say that like animals make tools, but
They use
obviously not to
tools.
the same level.
Obviously not.
Like, they're not making computers.
Correct. They aren't.
They're not like even thinking of like what?
Yeah.
I can automate something.
They do improve on things and like notice yeah, but there are other species with opposable thumbs.
So making me think of Virginia Woolf. For a woman to write fiction, she must have her own money, her room, a room of her own.
Right.
Kind of sounds like that with humans.
Again, it depends on what you consider the writing.
I think ancient. Sorry, I'm like on such a different wavelength. I think like ancient cultures had a lot of trauma and weren't as productive as they could have been.
What?
Like obviously they had trauma. Like trauma isn't like something.
Everyone had trauma.
Yeah, like every single human being. So how are they able to get so much done when it's been shown that like trauma reduces your ability to like function in life?
I don't know if that's a like well accepted factoid.
Really, I read this book once that was all about like how most of the book was just on how kids with trauma go on to like really suffer in school, and then that affects the rest of their lives.
Yeah, but maybe if the demands were not like what school demands, then it wouldn't turn out as much. Because the demands on ancient.
They have stuff to do. If anything, like
Aaron, the mic placement is
harder.
the same as it always is.
Such harder demands.
They're just more immediate. So like, yeah, you have to put your trauma aside if like you need to find food or you need to save yourself or you need to communicate X important thing.
Yeah.
The mic is where it always is.
What's his name?
The mic placement isn't great.
Maybe the fan's working. I don't know.
It's worked before.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That is much more likely. That's much more likely.
I'm gonna say chat.
You're not the first person to
Like,
mention.
hi, I just tuned in. I mean, but thanks, Aaron.
We're
Actually,
talking about
I
what
actually
separates.
sincerely mean that. Like, thanks for telling us
thank
that
you.
you can't really hear us.
Were you in any doubt of that?
Huh?
Were you in doubt of the fact that we talk too softly?
Sometimes, yeah.
Especially,
I'm a soft talker, okay?
you're a very soft talker.
But when I talk loudly, I feel like I am bellowing. So it's hard for me, okay? There's an adjustment period to go through.
We've been doing this 54 days.
No, I know, but I'm saying, so to me, it would mean like I would have to be yelling all the time.
You don't have to be yelling.
But I wonder if that is normal level. And
That's not normal level, what you just did.
see, I don't trust my own ears, is what I'm saying.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
This is not. Imagine if I just start doing that from now on. Apparently, I'm a soft talker. So,
My loudest.
so if you can't hear me, let me know.
Imagine if you talked like this. Oh my gosh. My
Have you ever had a
laugh
loud
is intolerable. Yeah,
Your laugh.
it's intolerable.
Oh, it's entirely tolerable.
I don't. Okay, maybe I was just having a day,
Yeah.
but I told you I sent some link of like a few days ago to my friend,
Yeah.
And then he said something about a repartee. So I was like, what is he doing? And I clicked it. And I ended up watching it for a little while. And the laugh, it's not good. I'm not talking about like my laugh in life in general,
Yeah.
because I know it's loud and maybe abrasive. I don't know if it's abrasive, but like startling.
Mm.
But it was like a specific kind of laugh. I'm gonna send you the day.
Send it to
It was
me.
the pencil skirt day.
Oh my god, it's such a good
I was
day.
like, ah, 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 ah. Like, it was such a weird
I
laugh.
love that though. I love loud laughers. They're just like it's like they're singing when they laugh. I don't know.
I didn't realize this for the longest time, but my whole family is laughs super
Yeah.
loud. Every member. Like, to the point where it's taken me a really long time to realize I have a loud laugh, because it comes from
So
a context of everyone like top volume.
So, do you think that's genetic or cultural? That people laugh like their family members?
Cultural.
Like it's
But
just
both.
Like, do you
both,
learn how to laugh from your parents, and then you're
Both.
like, all right, okay, I'll make these weird sounds.
both.
It's the genetics. I'm trying to think of how my dad laughs that I really hope I don't laugh like. No offense, Papa. He's like you know those like little high breathy laughs?
Janessa, quit shouting. Quit bellowing. You need to stop with your bellowing. Sorry, you know
Is this quieter?
Ishan says too loud when he means too soft. What were you just saying?
No,
Your dad.
my dad. I was trying to like see if I could imitate my dad because he's like I can't do it. It's like so high pitched, which is really weird for. It's just such a weird laugh. Yeah, just do it. But I feel like the laughs in my family have changed.
Really?
Like, yeah, at one point my sister had an insane laugh. And I think it was fully intentional because like whenever she laughed like that, we laughed. But then she was stuck with this laugh that was really big.
What?
And then I'm sure she like went off to school and was like, oh, I will not be laughing like this anymore.
My dad's dad, like, I think genetically used to sneeze really loudly, and my dad sneezes quite loudly as well, but it's considered like it's treated in my family like it's just a genetic thing. But then my mom, in order to like, I don't know, participate, compete, whatever, like years and years and years ago, started deliberately sneezing loudly.
Really?
And now she is the loudest sneezer in the whole family. And my dad hates it and thinks she's doing it on purpose to bug him. And she has been like, she's a little bit evil. So partly she probably does do it to bother him. And partly she says that it's so satisfying. But I think it's so satisfying because she like scares people.
I can see that. I love sneezing.
Why?
I wish I could do it more often. I don't sneeze a lot. It's very disappointing. It's such a weird thing that happens.
It is very weird.
And it's so rare, so precious.
I don't know if it's that rare.
I don't know. I like it.
My dad sneezes a lot.
Yeah.
Allergies, and he sneezes in sets of like 3 and up.
I was gonna ask that, like, what's up with people having to sneeze 3 times?
I don't know what
or
a sneeze
something?
even is.
I think it's just it's a self-defense, get out of my nose reaction.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But why 3 times?
Aaron said his fan was on right behind his head. Dongle. So he basically was doing what you did with bellowing. He was like, I can't hear them. Your mic's off.
Mm.
Aaron, when's your sleep study?
Oh. When are we gonna have Aaron on the show?
Aaron, come on the show. This
Aaron,
is
what
a
are you
show.
doing tomorrow?
He's doing nothing.
Great.
Oh, sleep studies tonight.
Ooh.
Are you there? Wait, you can't go somewhere, can you? How do they do it? How do they do it in quarantine?
They mail you a kit. A kit, you say?
Interesting. Is it like a CPAP? My mother and brother-in-law both went in and stayed the night at the sleep clinic, which I always thought was kind of weird,
I would not be able to sleep.
right?
Mm-mm.
I don't think that's how it works for people with sleep problems, though.
Really?
They first of all knock off very quickly. If you have sleep apnea, you're like immediately because they're just like chronically exhausted all the time
Right,
because they're
yeah.
not sleeping.
Yeah. Insurance. No, but that's maybe a more accurate read of
Probably it is. Well, it depends on how invasive the kit is.
what is this kit?
Do you have to? Where do you have to stick the kit? What's the? How do they measure this?
Is there a swab?
Remember when Janessa swabbed the inside of her mouth and sent it to the labs to?
I didn't swab it. I spat.
What did you?
That was hard to come up with that much saliva.
How much did they fucking need?
Like they needed like 2 full.
Don't be funny.
Seriously.
Why so much?
And first thing in the morning too. Like before you can't have like had any water or anything to eat or drink beforehand. But
It's a funny response.
oh, he sent us. Yeah. This is great.
Oh, this yeah, this is my mom has her CPAP has a thing that's just knows things and it looks a bit like that. But this is obviously not the same thing.
It's so exciting.
I know it really.
Are you gonna be able to sleep, Aaron?
He's not excited.
I'd be like, I wonder what's wrong with me.
I think he's concerned about what's
Oh.
about because just there's all these like very remote possibilities that I don't think are going to happen in any way. Probably they'll just give you a CPAP and send you home, and then you'll sleep like a dream for the rest of your time here.
That's a big deal. If this fixes your sleep, you're probably all kinds of tired and you don't even know it.
Yeah, man. Do you know it?
I would give anything for my dad to be able to sleep well. Anything.
Why doesn't he sleep well? Pain.
It's like it used to be 1 part and now it's 2-part pain.
Maybe he needs to eat gummies.
I don't know if that would fix the thing. So he has a really bad back. And so it hurts him for that reason.
Yeah.
And now he gets stiff legs at night. So he wakes up and it's like his leg, I don't know. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. So he's nodding off constantly. Because also it accumulates, you know? So he's going on like 15 years of lack of sleep.
I don't know a lot about it accumulating, but yeah, that's rough, man.
Yeah, like I think like 4 hours a night is about as much as he gets.
I mean, people also have their like range of needs, but I'm sure.
Yeah, like I know there's some people who claim they're like, I get 4 hours and
I work okay with 5.
yeah. But could you do that? Yeah, I think it does add up. you were to go like
I know
5
you
hours,
can't make up for sleep.
You can't make up for it. Really?
But that doesn't mean that ongoing sleep problems don't accumulate.
So actually, do you use any sleep apps?
I have, but
Actually,
then I realized nothing happened.
I like them just to like track my sleep. And this one is actually all about sleep debt and trying to like
Interesting.
it's saying like yes, you can catch up on sleep. So I have like 4.8 hours of sleep debt right now.
Interesting. Yeah, I read that too.
But I can't ever catch up. I said
Why?
that weird. I don't know. I just
You said it like it
I
was a
can't-
ketchup bun.
I know catch up.
Well, like what did the mustard say to the?
I'll catch up with you later. No, I just want to get to 0, and I can't do it.
Why can't you do it? You have been sleeping.
No, not enough apparently.
See, I also just have a healthy amount of skepticism about how it knows how I'm sleeping.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
Noises, movement, is that really?
Yeah, like your sleep. Ooh, okay. Like, so I use this every night. This is called Sleep Cycle, and these
Yeah.
are the. So that is very awake for me.
I don't know.
Like these dips, I'm like, what's going on here?
They all look like that. What do you mean?
But then this,
okay.
what is that? Deep Valley.
Yeah,
Never
I guess I
comes
have
up.
mistrust with technology when it comes to this.
What a
Wow.
good sleep that one was.
You were on point on Friday. I remember that.
10 hours sleep. Deep sleep.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, what the fuck are they basing this on? Whoa. Yeah, people have all different.
Only slept 15 minutes every 6 hours afterwards. Very unhealthy though. Yeah, I think it is. Like Sadhguru, I think talks about that,
About what?
about sleep, and he's like, the human body does not need 8 hours,
What is he talking about?
and he claims to only sleep about 2 hours a day. I
Sleep is such a fucking hilarious thing.
think. Yeah,
Isn't it so weird that people just like assume the position of death for like a
totally.
while? It's like,
Yeah,
it's
when
like
I actually
they're just like they're not there. And you would maybe think they were dead. They're not. It's so strange.
see, that's another thing that I'm like, we're so vulnerable as creatures.
See, that's another
Every
thing. This
day
is connected
that I'm
to-
like, why did humans win? But this is also what makes us sick.
yeah, so it might all eat itself.
Yeah.
But for them, I mean, if you're really wondering how we got here, that's how we got
How
here.
did we get
That's how we got
here?
here.
And now I want Bill Nye to come and take me on a journey. through
Remember when
time.
I saw him at the DMZ like appointments? I was like, oh! There were all these people there. Him. Everyone was like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the most exciting celebrity crossing. What would you ask him? What would you talk to him about?
I mean, I didn't like grow up with this man, so I don't have like the personal relationship that maybe a lot of people did. But
I'd just be like, science.
he's a badass.
Is he?
Yeah, man. He's been doing like he's like his environmental like platform. That's I'm sure that's why he was at wherever the fuck that audition was.
Right.
Because he's still like he does environmental stuff.
Yeah.
Videos about how we're fucking up everything. And I think he drops F-bombs.
Good.
Yeah. I told Ray that I was not forwarding that video to anyone.
Yeah.
Just ignored it, sent me 3 others. I said, I can't keep up with you. It's so weird because in life, normally, I go to the gym and I meet him there. And he's like, "What's up?" And I'm always like, "Oh, the impeachment hearings, blah 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 blah." blah.
Yeah.
And he generally does not really know what's going on.
Hmm.
Is what it seems like.
Now with all his spare time, he's caught up.
Yeah, he's caught up to stuff that may not even be happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of it is, but also it's like one of those like, look at this horrible thing, and can you believe that? And I
Well,
can't
and
believe that I've reached a ceiling for it because normally I can consume vast quantities of like catastrophic information. Yeah, I like listen to the news all the time.
I have a very low threshold.
Yeah, a lot of people have like much more human and just the fact that I like watch all these murdery things and listen to murdery podcasts, like obviously there's something going on there. But I'm finding myself in a place where I am not able to deal with the like videos that I'm getting sent by them.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I mean, right now does not seem like the time to be looking at dog murder. Personally, I think that's something more you need to add to the pile.
Seems like it, but
Yeah.
murder isn't either. Like, that doesn't feel somehow like adding to the pile, but these I'm like, listen, I can't, like my ability to, I don't know.
Yeah, I've wondered about your interest in crime drama. I get that it's just juicy. Like you're not the only one, obviously, that loves that.
Obviously.
Yeah. Murder?
The way I think about it is that I like it's a way to check out. It's the exact right amount of checking out because I like it to be intriguing enough and high stakes enough that it takes my attention from whatever was going on with me before.
Oh, okay.
But it needs to also be a certain level of stupid. Like, can't ask too much of me
Okay.
because then that starts to be like
Yeah.
an energetic deficit or something.
Right.
Whereas what I want is something that's a little bit more like, hello, anybody home?
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
pure escape.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the crime or the whatever, like it provides enough like stakes that it's not, and this is why I can't watch comedy.
Because the stakes aren't high.
Because yes. Yeah, because the stakes aren't high.
Right.
But if they are high, then they're distressingly high. Like The Office is distressingly high stakes. And that is physically, again, you're like spending.
The Office can be like, oh really?
Oh my God. It's excruciating.
Yeah. And it's
I don't
almost
know.
because it feels so real, it feels really close.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas a drama feels very, very far away. Depending on what it is. But yeah, it's a little surreal, right? Like in the way that you're like, who murders someone? Like
For
it's like,
sure.
it's not something you can like really relate to.
For sure. I think that has something to do with it, definitely. And also, it might have something to do with anxiety. Like my sister was saying that she's had clients come in with who have had historically anxiety, and they're actually way less anxious in coronavirus.
Yeah, right.
We talked about this? I might have mentioned it.
Maybe. Okay.
Because it struck me a lot.
Yeah.
So they're actually less anxious than they are normally in life, and other people are more anxious than they ever are in life.
So I think like normal people got really anxious from when this started, and actually I was like, oh,
What's the psychological explanation for that?
that anxiety is a huge amount about the unknown
Uh-huh.
and about the like vacuous. So if you're like the dangers of virus, it goes from here to here, then you're like, oh, okay, I know what's happening.
Hmm.
Like you have there's clarity about fear. Whereas anxiety is more like fear spinning out because there's nowhere for it to like
You know what it made
hold
me
on
think
to.
of is like someone who's anxious can feel like like the weird one in the group.
Mhm.
And so to have the anxiety be universal and like
Yes,
it be so frequently like talked about and made
validated,
accepted,
right?
like suddenly all that anxiety they also hold about their anxiety has been like
Yeah.
soothed in some way.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. Okay, so we're living in an anxious world. Great.
Yeah,
And I know how to deal
yeah,
because I live with this shit all day long.
yeah. I think that probably definitely has a
Yeah.
probably definitely.
Probably definitely.
It would make sense if that had an impact on it. But yeah, so that was all of these ideas. Something about the clarity of it is actually comforting, because
Right.
otherwise you're like preparing for an unknown, maybe non-existent threat,
Yeah. Right.
and you like don't know. It's a little bit like I feel guilty. I just have to figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, but now you're like, okay, cool. So I'm scared because this is happening.
Right. Mm.
Where was I going with this?
Mm. Yeah, so much of it is like, yeah, I really get with it. And like within that too, there's something finding to do about it. Because if you're always anxious and you don't
Yeah,
know what the thing's going to be, then you're also
Yeah.
frozen in place.
exactly. This way you can like
Yeah.
do the things that there's a prescription. There's like a
Definitely. Even if it's just staying home, they're like, great.
yeah,
Yep. I'm
I'm doing it.
Mhm.
Totally. I can't remember why I brought this anxiety thing up. Oh, so I think in some ways, murdery things acknowledge my and validate my anxiety while giving it a shape,
Right, yeah.
so that I'm then like, whoa, yeah, like I don't know. So it's some mixture of like it getting acknowledged and it getting eased.
Yeah.
Like it has always felt to me a very different thing than like seeing a good movie. Or so like it's almost not in the same. Like the way I do TV has got nothing to do with what I think about art.
Right, yeah.
It's like a completely transactional. I don't know. It's very different. And there's still stuff that I stumble on that I really like and I think is great, but it's been a long time that I've noticed having an aversion to watching things that I feel like ask a lot of me, and a lot of good things ask of you.
Yeah, definitely.
So I actually feel like I stay away, frankly, from stuff that's like the because it feels too costly, and I just need to like.
Last year I did this month. Did I tell you about this?
I don't know, but
Where
it
I
was
watched last year I did a month of movies,
Mm-hmm.
of foreign films.
Mm.
So every day. And I looked up like all the lists, like all the greatest foreign films of the past century.
Dear God.
And every day I watched a movie. And firstly, it was incredibly fulfilling, but it was exhausting to every day be taking in a new piece of art
and there wasn't really time to sit with it because then I had to launch into the next day.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I talked to Ali about this recently because we were talking about music. So she like writes and sings, and it's a big part of her life. But I'd never talked to her about what kind of music she listens to. So I like texted her being like, what music do you listen to the other day?
Okay.
And we ended up getting into this big conversation, and she essentially was saying like it's a lot, so she actually finds herself limiting. And I really get that. Like I love Questlove sets.
Yeah.
I cannot process them at the rate at which they're happening.
Yeah.
I can't. It's like it's treasure.
Yeah.
And I think I sometimes do this with John Oliver as well. That I'm just
you
like,
save it up.
yeah, and it's all like I can't digest, like there's so much, like his DJ sets have so much new and different stuff that I've never heard and I find so compelling that I'm like, who the fuck is this? And then go on a whole thing, and then like that's how I found out about the Fiona Apple album, and I'm only 3 songs into it. 3 or 4 songs into it, and I've played them like numerous times, but the idea of like just like keeping it going like this is like anathema to the
I mean, you're a deep diver. Yeah.
Unless it's with Modo, in which case I am like next.
Well, but there's also like typically a formula to that.
Yes.
Like, and especially the extent to which you've watched them.
Yes, I could probably, yes.
Yeah, like, yeah, you're like, okay, you know what's happening. You don't have to engage to that level.
Mm-hmm.
But something new.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's all about like what you're
really
doing.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing there?
Yeah.
And there are certain things that I've imagined would be so expensive that I've stayed away from them despite wanting to see them.
Mm.
I never saw Dallas Buyers Club because I was like, I can't.
Me neither.
I can't. Beginners. Derek was always telling me to watch Beginners.
Really?
But because of like, I was like, I'm like scared.
Beginners?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, supposedly it's great. It's got nothing to do with like, it's got absolutely nothing to do with how good.
I think it is worthwhile. I get that like you have to save it.
It's not just saving. There's part of it is saving, and part of it is like actually being scared of the emotional experience and being like, but then like stuff's gonna happen if I watch a movie that's good.
Yeah.
Or like what like that's demanding or that.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like in some ways maybe I watch these like serial murder things because I'm like too sensitive emotionally.
Mm.
And for whatever reason this like passes by in a way that like and it's not always like there are some episodes of things that I'm like, whoa, this is too intense.
So fascinating.
What is?
It's just like, yeah, I get it, but it's so I don't know, contradictory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why it works.
Right.
Like that's why I can't watch Kim's Convenient. You know what I mean? Like I need there to be like more stuff happening. But I do think that is using television content, whatever, it's using it as a drug, using it like as an escape rather than, and not that there isn't some value to escaping, because I don't think you need to always feel the pain with no headphones, like right to the face. But yeah. Ever since I've thought about audio, I'm realizing how loud this house is. Woo! Loud house.
This work.
We just have to do a lot of things.
I just want to do nothing.
Really?
No. It's good to have. It's good to have to work hard. Okay.
Not that hard.
No, I just have to use some creativity.
Also, I just want to quickly say about the quarantine
Mhm.
that I'm so used to being the one for whom it's not working. Like, I can't see the 3D thing, or other people. Like, I have a bit of this as well. I know you have it strongly.
Yeah.
The fact that this situation has had a positive impact on my ability to like come up with ideas and like maybe do them, which I feel like it clearly has, makes me feel so like I'm like, oh, I get to be one of the people that's like having a good go of it.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. One of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
One of the ones who gets it.
Yeah.
You get it.
I'm not like, oh God, it doesn't suck how everybody's oh.
Yeah.
Physically.
Aw.
Of course, it's not always like that because I was like weeping yesterday.
Yeah. But and then look at you today.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to get through that. And that doesn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like this could be like a time where you discover
Yeah.
that you have that
Yeah.
naturally, whether there's
Yeah.
quarantine going on or not.
And that's actually part of the reason why. That's why I was just like, is it like, is it work? Is it going to be work for us to do this? Because I do want to like, as much as stuff comes up, like it feels easy. Like I want to do it.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
And it feels a bit easy now,
I'm glad you want to do it.
rather than in life. Why?
I'm like, oh, you really want to do it? Okay.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just whatever. I also don't think I have good ideas.
Okay.
Like we've talked about this, where I'm like, I kind of do my thing, but I think it's weird, and not. It's like vegetarianism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like I think it's weird. No one else would be interested, but I think about this.
I think that might be true. No, like seriously, I have that as well. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't think I'm very mainstream. Like I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
sure some people would be like, well, this is an interesting conversation, but I don't know how many people. I've never had any confidence that like 1 million people or whatever you were saying about that real estate guy.
Yeah.
I have no confidence that anything like that would ever, it doesn't seem feasible to me. But I guess what feels good about right now is feeling like it's accessible to do it regardless. Or like, yeah, somehow the stakes feel different, or like, so what if no one? So what if it's not a good idea?
Right. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like when this first hit, I was like, everything's even.
Yeah.
Like we all have to stay home, so I get to do whatever I want. Who cares? Like I don't need to be trying to prove myself anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nowhere I should be. There's nothing I should be doing. So finally, I just get to do whatever comes into my head. And like nobody's gonna be like, "What the hell? You're making videos in your living room or something."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. What else am I supposed to be doing?
That should, you were just like, should. That's why I sent you the thing today.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I was like, yeah, this is a good list. It's a good list to refer to. I should post this on my mirror.
Yeah. Shoulds, musts, oughts.
Masturbation. Oh God.
I liked that one. Yeah. And it feels like easy. Even the fact that I'm doing like some amount of creative work with my sister for her. The fact my dad wants to, I think I told you this, my dad wants to read a book
Does
together. Yes.
Oh,
So he's like waiting in the wings.
oh. What does he want to read?
The Mahabharata,
Oh, great.
which he's always had really strong feelings about and thoughts about, and yeah. So hopefully we can figure out a way to do that.
Would you do it like this?
I don't know. We'd have to like figure it out, but partly in that we would read and
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
And to that extent, yes, it would be like this, but I don't know anything else. Um,
Things are cooking.
yeah.
And with that, I'm gonna go finish my dumplings.
I'm gonna go finish my giant burrito.
Did that feed you all day? Or no, you haven't finished it. But
I think I ate breakfast. I made a shake this morning, a smoothie, rather. And then I've just eaten this burrito, yeah.
mainstream media is an anxiety amplifier, and that's by design.
Yes, it is.
Great.
It is.
Okay. Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.